Hello everyone and welcome back to Data Cloud Now's live coverage of Snowflake Summit in Las Vegas, the world's largest data and AI conference. I'm now joined by Jonathan Cohen, VP of Applied Research for NVIDIA. Such a pleasure to have you on the program, Jonathan.
Thanks for having me here this morning.
You know, NVIDIA has pioneered accelerated computing to tackle challenges that no one else could solve. What trends are you noticing across the marketplace?
Well, I think the data centers around the world are essentially full. It's difficult to build more data center capacity. It's difficult to create new data centers. You need power, you need cooling, and these are difficult things to achieve right now. And so as a result, if you have increasing demands for compute, which you do with things like AI, certainly generative AI is extremely computationally demanding, simulation, virtual reality, all the things that people want to do in data centers, but you can't build more data centers. You have no choice. You have to switch to accelerated computing. You have to add processors and the entire accelerated computing stack, so everything from the processors to the software layers that are going to give you that acceleration within the same power and cooling and data center budget. And so as a result, we see everybody moving towards accelerated computing. And I think the groundwork we've been laying for the last 20 years, well, let's call it 30 years, but especially with our data center business, it's really taking off because this is the moment that's starting to happen.
You know, we're currently in Las Vegas on the show floor here at Snowflake Summit. It's been a busy week for NVIDIA at Summit. Your founder and CEO joined Snowflake's chairman and CEO Frank Slootman on stage to kick off the event. You just wrapped the final keynote. What have the results been from NVIDIA's standpoint on Summit?
Well, you know, NVIDIA is a cloud company now, and we're taking all of our technology and we're putting it in the cloud. And you know, when you look at the use cases and the applications for generative AI, so many of them need to be next to data. So what's so powerful about the rise of these modern AI systems is you can feed them your data and they can transform it and generate knowledge and value and help you make decisions. And if your data is in the cloud, which it is, then your processing, you know, everything from the hardware to the stack to do the processing also needs to be in the cloud. And so that's what we've been working on for several years, and with our NeMo platform, which is our large language model platform, it's a cloud native platform, and so it's just a great, it's a great marriage between a cloud native data platform and a cloud native computational platform for AI. And we're just seeing a lot of interest and a lot of excitement around that.
You know, an exciting next chapter, you know, as this new type of AI technology emerges based on generative models, what advice would you give to our audience watching around how to understand it, but also how to apply it as well?
Yeah, you know, I think the way to think about these modern AI systems, I don't want to anthropomorphize it, and there's a lot of discussion, you know, how much are they like people or whatever, but I think in terms of what they can do for a business, it's interesting to think about them as kind of like something that can augment your people. So a person has a facility for human language, right? What are we doing right now? We're speaking.
Communicating.
We're communicating. People read data, people read customer survey feedback, and they think about it and they make sense of it. And these modern language models, what they can do is they can take all of that data and they can make sense of it too, and they can do it in an automated way. And so tasks that previously just made no sense because they were just, the volume of data you'd have to crunch through, the scale of what you would have to do was just far beyond what a person could handle. You can now automate, and I think that's going to have tremendous impact on all kinds of business processes. It's going to unlock a lot of value, and it's going to enable a lot of things that weren't possible before. And so my advice is, you know, think about these models like an employee that can do something like that. And you need to educate them, you need to give them access to interesting data, you need to train them, you need someone to supervise them until they learn the concepts and the tasks, and then they'll let you crunch through data in a way that you weren't able to before.
You know, it's been great getting your perspectives and key takeaways from Summit. I have to ask, what's next for NVIDIA?
Well, you know, generative AI is just getting started. Clearly it needs accelerated computing. It's extremely computational demanding. You need a platform that can handle the computational challenges of these modern models are huge and And they're getting not necessarily just bigger, but also more complicated. So things like models that can understand image and audio and text and video. And we are the platform for accelerated computing. So we're investing a lot in understanding where the technology is going. We're investing a lot in accelerating the whole stack from the hardware through the software layers, through the application layers. And we also think it's really valuable to think about what's the next click of this technology. I believe that generative AI is going to be paired with much more kind of traditional computing. So people use computers for all sorts of things today, like simulating something in a factory, solving a logistics optimization problem. And when you can marry your generative AI model, your digital brain, now with something that computers have traditionally been really good at and are already used for every day, I think you're going to create very, very powerful systems that can do all sorts of planning and logistics and really help optimize businesses, help solve hard problems. And I think that's next. And so we're thinking a lot about that, is how do you build the platform to support this kind of next click of the technology, where it's headed.
I want to say thank you for your insights and your perspectives on the current state of the marketplace. But I want to end with a question that I know that you wrapped on in your keynote, and that's a prediction. 1 year from now, what impact will Gen AI have on the collective industry?
Yeah, I think like I said before, the ability to take your data and turn it into knowledge. Jensen, our CEO, likes to say, and he's the first person I heard say this, and I think it was such a sharp insight, that what is AI? AI is a system that takes your data and uses your data to have the computer write a computer program. The result of AI, something called a neural network or a deep neural network, is really just a way of representing a program. And so these AI systems, they take data and they output a neural network, which is an algorithm or a program. And so if you can take your data, which stores your knowledge, so field notes from a field technician, or analysis from your business analysts, or whatever it is, all the knowledge you have, institutional knowledge you have as a company, contracts you've signed, whatever it is, and you can now use that to feed a model to to solve those kinds of problems, to generate knowledge and value for your company. I think that's going to be a very powerful loop, very valuable loop to close, where you start with the data that powers my business. I now, using AI, I turn that into a system that can, from that history, make intelligent decisions, and now I can start applying that. And what's that going to do? That's going to generate more data, which you can then use and feed back through that cycle. And so I expect over the next year, more and more businesses are going to start realizing the potential of that, and we're going to see just a lot of impact, a lot of positive impact, I think, as enterprises and organizations figure out how to run this kind of data to AI to impact back to data cycle. And so I think in a year, we're going to be quite a bit farther along in seeing that rolled out across the whole industry.
Well, I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation at Snowflake's next summit 1 year from now. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Data Cloud.
Great to chat with you too, thank you.
And for the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green with Data Cloud Now. I'll see you soon.